There he is. Aw, they're holding hands. I think that's the first time I've really caught it on camera. Oh, I love that. And there is actually one other special guest. Wow, has it been a little while since we have done a reptile room tour. And look at that. We got our coffee, and boy, do we have a lot to speak about. Most notably, we've changed all of these. We set up some brand new terrariums, as well as so many more updates, including eggs that I'm super stoked to announce and show you guys, as well as babies that are hatching right now, and an update on all 100 plus reptiles that we currently have in the room. It's gonna be an epic one. Welcome to the Reptile Room Tour for July 2025. You heard me mention 100 plus animals. You've seen the title. I always put a disclaimer right here that's saying that this is a partnership between me and my partner Bree. We run the Jungle Vault together. It is not an easy undertaking. There is always so much to do, so much work that goes into this. It is definitely not for everybody. It's literally a full-time job, and that is what we dedicate our lives to. So I don't want this video to encourage hundreds of animals being kept under one roof. Make sure you know your limits and know what you can handle before purchasing an animal. And with that said, let's get started with these two beautiful species of frogs behind me. We have the Oophaga histrionica fuego. You can see one right there. That is the male. These frogs are absolutely gorgeous. I love them so much, and I've been happy to produce two very, very healthy babies that will be looking for new homes very shortly here. Just yesterday, the tank looked like this, where the Brahms were way overgrown. Everything was kind of looking in array, but I went through and trimmed some of the Brahm leaves off, and now it's looking like this. Much more open, a little bit more room for the frogs to bound around, and more importantly, I want more light to reach the bottom. There's definitely going to be a kind of massive overhaul of this tank because it is just too much Brahm. Because the Brahms take up so much space in here, it is kind of challenging to feed them properly or really grow much else. That's also to do with the misting nozzles that I installed. The other one, that is second iteration of this tank, is my Oophaga histrionica blue, or blue histrionica, and they are just something else, man. Look at that frog. Oh my word. I just love their tank as a whole. It just looks so good. Over the years that this tank is set up, I know these Brahms are also going to take over because they're pretty much the same species that's in there, just a slightly different kind of color variation. These will get huge, but I'm very, very excited to see how they grow, and we do have a confirmed pair. If you've missed some of the updates, there is 2 males and 1 female in this tank. I'm just waiting for good babies. I really want some babies of these. Honestly, this tank has seen some better days. Up top here, the moss has mostly kind of died back. To be honest, I'm really not sure why. I think it's just not getting enough mist from the nozzles that are like 2 feet away from it. Ideally, I would have had a nozzle in the center like I do back there. But I didn't think about that on this tank, and that's what I learned when I built the new tank here. That's one thing. It is what it is. Just kind of got to deal with it. I think it's still looking good. The Margravia is starting to take over this wall, and obviously it's just mostly a whole lot of Brahms, which is great for the frogs, and that's what I'm happy for. As long as they enjoy it, then I guess I will have to suck it up and just enjoy it as well. The female Fuego is chilling here. The baby, I guess you could call it, it's now pretty much an adult frog, is down here. It is a nicer frog than both of the parents of the adults. So much yellow, nice orange head, just a beautiful little froglet that I cannot wait for it to go to a new home, or to be honest, this one might be staying here. I haven't decided yet. That is the Oophaga histrionica fuego. Now that you've seen all 3 of them, the 4th one is across the room. We probably won't see it later, but it is basically another froglet slash frog, the exact same size as that one. Talking a little bit more about the blue histrionica, I know I still have not made the video on building this tank, and to be honest, it's actually changed quite a bit since I filmed it. I'm still gonna make that video, and you guys will see how this tank was built from scratch by me, and is now home to some of the most beautiful frogs in the world. Got a bit of a bigger flashlight now so you guys can actually see them. That one's back there. Very hard to see. Sure you guys can see that blue? Yeah, you can. And then there's actually another one kind of at the back of the tank behind that bromeliad, but again, very, very hard to film. If you guys are into keeping dart frogs, then this is kind of like the holy grail. I've peaked beyond kois. This was the one that I really, really wanted. And yeah, I have 3 of them. And there are a pair, as I mentioned before, so I'm really hoping that we can make some babies here in the future. This tank, like I mentioned, has changed a lot. It's growing in very well. I'm probably gonna have to move that bromeliad just because, as you can tell, it's growing straight up against the ceiling. So it's not offering much for the frogs. I might just move it down to like right here. I feel like that kind of makes sense. So that's what I'm going to end up doing. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. The branch is growing in well. A lot of the moss never really took on the actual branches themselves, but they still look pretty natural. Truthfully, I don't mind. The moss is growing elsewhere, so I can't really complain too much. And just recently I got a new orchid species from one of my friends locally here. It's actually blooming. I cannot remember the species name of it. Hopefully I can dig it up on my phone and I'll put it on screen right now for you guys. But look at that thing. Oh my word. Yeah, that's sweet. Very happy with that. I do have a build video on my channel for that one, and this one will be coming this summer. And now we can move down a rung because I'm basically just going in order of rack. So we'll go from this rack and around the room. Down here we have our solo female Oophaga Pumilio Bahia Grande. She is doing very well. I definitely need a male for her or to sell her. If anybody needs a female, let me know. There we go. Hi, sweetie. Wow, I actually showed you in a video. This might be like the first reptile room tour I've ever shown you off. She's doing fantastic. Unfortunately, the male passed away, I don't know, at this point, probably about a year ago. I know I've mentioned it on the channel before, but figured I'd kind of reiterate what happened. This tank definitely needs a little bit of TLC. Again, about a year and a half ago, I went through here and replanted a bunch of stuff. Everything has pretty much been boom or bust. Like this Bromark's Fantasy is like one of the nicest plants ever. And I think I'm actually going to plant that in probably the Oophaga tanks here because obviously it needs to be cut down. It's all the way at the roof of the tank. And then there's like a Syngonium in the back there that's growing against the top. This bromeliad's doing great. Pretty much everything is doing great, but a lot of the small like orchids and stuff are not doing so great, unfortunately. This tank is another custom-made tank by me. I don't think I have like an actual build video on the whole tank, but I did make a video kind of sprucing it up. Again, I'll leave a catalog of videos in the description down below if you guys want to check them out. Close that up and move on over to Cardinal, who is not out right now, but I should be able to get some B-roll of her soon to insert over this. Her tank is doing pretty good overall. I think it's probably time for another thrip treatment because this plant is taking a bit of a beating. The 2 fern-like plants in here are actually fake. What? No way. But it is still a bioactive tank. There's a ton of isopods and springtails, probably even a couple spiders putzing around in this tank. You can see some remnants of the shed that she had about a week ago. The cleanup crew goes through and cleans it up in like 2 days. It is insane how fast they dispose of snake shed. I'm very, very happy with that. Beyond that, she's doing great. She's pretty much full size now, so we're not really expecting her to grow much more. Though in the future, at some point in the future, we hope to upgrade her to a slightly larger enclosure, maybe like a 6x2x2, something like that. We're hoping to have in our new house, whenever that happens, a large stack of 6x2x2 tanks for the Uromastyx, her, and a couple other snakes as well. I'm very excited for that time. In the meantime, this tank is nothing to be upset about. Bree did a great job setting this one up. There's so many little like caverns that she's kind of excavated for herself and tunnels going under the substrate. Down there is one of them. You guys can see there's just a hole there that she's excavated. She is a very adept burrower and has made this tank home. So here is some of the fresh babies that just hatched. This one's huge for a fresh baby. He
just ate.
Oh, he just ate, okay.
And he is also a big baby.
Yeah, he is a big baby. But these are Arctic condas, possible het corals?
Yeah, but they'll just be for sale as
we're just selling them as Arctic condas. We'll let you know that it's possible het coral, but the pricing will reflect Arctic conda, not het coral. Those are 2 big babies. Aw, they're holding hands. And then this one must be a super Arctic conda.
Yeah, they're tiny little siblings, super Arctic conda.
You can see the difference. I mean, it hasn't really had its first growth shed, so it still kind of looks gray, but...
We can show the other one.
Yeah, eventually they'll turn nice and white. We do have another super Arctic conda that we can show you, but that's what they start off as babies. They're just like gray, kind of gross looking, and then they turn beautiful after their first growth shed. So this is just a Conda reverse stripe, which is a polygenic trait. It's not like a genetic thing, but I mean, whew, wowzers. That is a nice baby, and that thing's huge.
Yeah, she's also a big baby.
Keep in mind, you guys, this hatched 3 days ago, 4 days ago? Or I guess these guys have been like a week. It's not like they've had a ton of meals or anything like that. They
haven't eaten.
No. So that's one of them, and it was a very small clutch of two. Yeah, our breeding season this year has been kind of rough, but that's fine. And this was a normal baby. These guys are technically possible het albinos. Again, we're just going to be selling them to reflect the price of a normal. Really nice though, really nice reds.
Pretty little male, who's actually quite calm on it.
A nice little male. Beautiful. These guys just hatched like 2 days ago. Tiger,
normal, and a Conda.
This Conda is insane.
He's really pretty. He looks kind of lemony.
Holy crap. Like it's like super saturated on his dorsal line and then kind of fades down below. That is really nice. Especially for, 2 or 3 days old. That is wild. I love these guys. These are quad hets.
These are quintuple hets.
Quintuple hets for what? Well, this is a Conda quintuple het for frosted snowburst. So if you guys don't know, like me, what a quintuple het frosted snowburst is, it is a Dutch hypo, caramel, albino, sable, xanthic. So these look normal, but these will not be sold as normals because they are extremely powerhouse kind of genetics on them. And this one I love. One of the females might be for sale, the other 2 will not be. And continuing along the baby train, we're just showing you guys a few of them. We're going to show a whole line of different Super Arctics that we have available right now. All of these are currently available on Morph Market that you're about to see under the Jungle Vault. If you mention this video, we'll give you a special discount. It has to be within what? The month of July? Yeah, so you got 1 month to cash in that discount for these guys. But what is it? It's a Super Arctic Conda het albino. 50% het sable. Very beautiful. That's what that kind of grayish looking baby will end up looking like. The kind of Oreo cookie cream type look to your snake. I love them. They're beautiful. Even if you don't plan on breeding, these guys just make such good pets. They're colorful, they're bright, they're fun to feed, they're fun to hold. So these are both other Super Arctic males. One's a bit more pink, one's a bit darker. One thing that we pride ourselves in is not selling animals that haven't ate less than 10 consecutive meals. So these guys are very, very well started. These are 2024 babies. And the final baby that is available on Morph Market is this gorgeous Sunburst. I don't even need to say anything about him. Who doesn't want a literal orange-sicle living in their room? Gorgeous coloration. And what's nice about Hognoses is as they grow, this color will either intensify or stay equally as beautiful as this. It's not like ball pythons or a lot of other morphs out there that kind of dull out as they get older. This will stay this color for its entire life. If I'm picking a snake. It's hard to argue with the cookies and cream, but this is a solid argument, having a literal sunrise in your enclosure. Sunrise is a different morph. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, having a sunburst in your enclosure then. Morph Market, the Jungle Vault, I'll leave the link in the description for you guys to go check it out. And like I said, if you inquire and mention July 2025 Reptile Room Tour, you'll get a nice discount. Now, Bree's helping me with this one, but I did mention that we're going to save all of the Hognoses for their own kind of dedicated video when we get a brand new rack for them. And that is still the case, but I can't starve you guys of too many Hognoses, so we are going to pull a couple out and just show you them. This right here is Puffin, another Super Arctic, a very pink Super Arctic. She's the mom to the Arctic Condas that we showed off earlier in this video. Again, they did just eat it as feeding day today, so we're not going to have them out for too long. Tip of the tail is like a really nice blush pink. She is a very good example of a very pink Super Arctic. You get variation. Some turn out very pink like this, others are more black. Like, it really just depends on how the cookies crumble, essentially. Here we have our beautiful girl Equinox. She is the longest hognose that we have, topping the Richter scale at a whopping like 3 feet. She is a moon dust, which is an Arctic lavender. And unfortunately, no babies from her this year. Did she eat all of her eggs? Or who? No, she just didn't produce.
She didn't produce anything.
Yeah, that's fine. She is still a gorgeous, very inquisitive hognose. The second we open the bin, she's at the front and coming out. She's like, all right, I'm exploring, and we love it. She's a very, very good snake. We love her so much. Hopefully next year we'll have some cool pairings for her, and maybe she'll take. Maybe not. Who knows? That's just kind of the way life goes sometimes. Again, we're not like breeding for a ton of profit or anything like that. We're just breeding because Bree loves hognoses. I'm very excited for when we get to set up one in a very naturalistic enclosure. We have a lot of plans for the hognoses when we leave. It's unfortunate that right now they are living in bins, but that's just how it is. And then when we move and we have more space, we'll have them all in PVC enclosures, or at least that's the goal. I'm sure we'll still have racks here and there. I can't go an entire reptile room tour without showing off my boy Saguaro. He just had a huge meal, as you guys can probably see, but I had to show him off to you guys. This is my very first snake, one of my favorite species. I love the Pyromelanas. Lampropeltis pyromelana. He's a Arizona mountain king snake, and his name is Saguaro because that is the giant cactus that grows in the Midwest. Now we have the hopeful dad-to-be Asher. We have tried to breed the king snakes this year. Scoria looks pretty good, like a balloon, actually, like a hot air balloon, to be honest. But I figured that we're not going to pull her out because, again, she just had a huge meal. We only really need to show one of these guys right now. This is an adult size. He's, what, 3, 4?
He's like 5.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so he's like 5 years old and an adult gray-banded king snake. As you can tell, they get their names from the orange bands. These guys are really cool. Bree has a really nice aesthetic for the gray bands. She likes the very clean, you know, orange, black, gray, etc. I don't love the different morphs and like localities and stuff you can find of them where they're just like all gray with black dots and stuff like that. The classic gray band is, in my opinion, and I think Bree's opinion too, the best option out there. We don't handle these guys too often. I mean, this is not a wily snake by any means. He's very well behaved. Another hognose here. We have a Mexican hognose. This is Edwardon Kenrilii, the Mexican hognose. This is Cantonero, our male. We really don't hold our snakes very often. And look, he's just chill as heck, man. If you had to tell me pick this between a Western and this, I would not be able to tell the difference.
This locality anyway.
Yeah, this locality. Really nice tan, kind of lemony yellow colors to them. The spots are very well defined. One of the final hognoses that we are teasing you with in this video is a straight exanthic. Nothing else going on. Just a really beautiful exanthic. She is head hypo, but that will not be showing up in her coloration anyway, so.
She almost looks like a super arctic.
Yeah, she really does almost look like a super arctic. Super gray. It's kind of hard to tell in this lighting.
She has like the white spots on her belly instead of yellow.
White instead of yellow. Exanthic basically removes all yellow coloration. Now we can move on to a sable. Now kind of the opposite. This is a sable. Very dark, chocolatey coloration to him. This is a gift from our friend Greg, GKS Reptiles here in Canada. Yeah, very, very generous gift. We certainly did not expect to get him, and we're very happy to have him though. He's a beautiful animal. Can you show his belly? It's really nice and orange.
Yeah, he's got a really nice like orange.
Especially tail, yeah. Whew. Damn. And showing off a second gift from Greg at GKS Reptiles. This is a sable toffee, otherwise known as a Mai Tai. This is a very stark competitor for a sunburst for me, for one of my favorite morphs. The yellow is really striking on them.
This individual particularly.
Yeah, specifically this individual. They're extremely variable in their patterning and coloration and expression of the genes, but this one particularly has that really nice kind of lemon backdrop with beautiful spots, as you can see. What's her belly look like? Flip. Oh, really pretty. That's awesome. She didn't even...
She's
like,
really chill.
And that is going to do it for the hognoses in this video. And now that you've seen a few of the animals from the adult rack, this rack is actually going to be changing. That's why I'm not showing every single snake in here. We're going to be getting a new rack and making a video out of that will show all the hognoses and everything. That will be kind of the hognose tour for 2025, so be excited for that. Now we can move down to the bottom rung of another large rack here. I know I get a lot of questions about where we get these racks. We get them from pretty much any big box store. Costco even carries them. Home Depot, Rona, Lowe's, like basically everywhere will carry the heavy duty racks. and that's what they're called. Is just search heavy duty rack, and I'll even try and link one from Amazon or something in the description down below. And now we can move on to the Vietnamese black-breasted leaf turtles. These guys are some of my favorite in the room. As you can see, their tanks are certainly a barren wasteland. Last video, they were all lush and green because we had freshly planted them, but I didn't listen to my girlfriend, and I planted a bunch of ferns that they have trampled and killed. They are due for a kind of revamp when they go down for winter. Should have learned my lesson, but I didn't. Anyways, we do have some very exciting news for them that I'll show you guys in just a few minutes, but I figured you might want to see some feeding time with the bozos. Come on. Oh, yeah, it is food. It is food. Oh. There you go. You gonna run away with it? Nope, she's like, I'm gonna slip it up like spaghetti. I love these guys, man. They're so cute. Truthfully, they just have some of the best personality of any reptile that we own, to be honest. They're always staring at you with like a blank stare, which never gets old. And the males, as you guys have seen probably in other videos, and maybe we can recreate it today, have the giant white eyes, so they just look hysterical when they're caught staring at you waiting for food. I'm hoping to recreate that today. But this female has an exciting story to share because she will hopefully be a first-time mama this year. I'm really hoping that this one ends up hatching this year. It still has about a month and a half of incubation left. This one I'm not really holding my hopes up for, but if we could produce one baby turtle this year, I will be over the moon. I think that will be probably my greatest achievement, and I am so excited to hopefully see a little baby back in the room. There he is. Dude, it's so good. Look at those eyes. I still really haven't thought of a name for these guys. At some point, I'm just going to have to settle and be like Maple and Bacon.
We already have a Maple.
We can have a second Maple. Oh, oh no. He's embarrassed. It's over here. No, do not run out of the tank. He's hype train mode. Roar. There you go. Wow. Okay. I don't know if it's just me. For anybody else who owns the leaf turtles, please let me know in the comments if yours just like grab food and then run with it. Because that's all these guys ever do. They get food and then they just storm around their tank. Half the time, if I leave the doors open, they come flying out at me like he is doing now. And I know you'll bite my finger. So why don't you go, look. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, man. And people wonder why I think these are like the best species of turtle. They stay small. They're terrestrial. They don't, I mean, their waters are easy to clean. You're not doing like a 30-gallon water change every time you feed them. Hi. Wait, did you eat it already? Wow. Okay. Wait. All right. We recreated it. He's like, bro, give me my worm. I don't even know how close I'm holding it. Okay. See, this is what they do. They just storm around. Like, bro, why don't you just stay in your water and eat your damn worm? These guys are just the best. I'm so happy. At the time of purchasing these guys, they were the most expensive animal I've ever purchased. And I, to be honest, thought I would ever purchase. But then histrionica came into my life and that all went out the window. And yes, my queen, we have one more for you as well. Here you go. Nope. 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 Here, try this end. There you go. That's an update on the Vietnamese black-breasted leaf turtles. They are fantastic. If you have any name suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below. I know I asked that pretty much every video, and I still haven't named them yet. At this point, it's been like 5-6 years, and they're just the male and the female. So that might end up just being their name, is male and female, because I'm so original. But thank you for the show to you both, and let's move up to The Scaphiophrinae marmorata, otherwise known as the marbled rain frogs. And let me tell you, right now, these are basically just dirt. During the winter, when it was cooler out, and then right in spring, these guys were out every day, hunting away, eating tons of food, still no calling, unfortunately, but they were just tanks. And now, because it's a little bit warmer in the room and it's summertime, they have basically just gone down to dwell in the substrate. Now, you guys might be wondering, oh, well, why would you provide them with a 24-inch tall tank if all they do is sit in the substrate? And that is a valid question. However, when they are out and active, they use mostly the canopy. When we were in Madagascar, we saw 3 or 4 of these guys, and every single one, minus a calling male, was like 4 to 5 feet up a tree. That's why I have kind of adapted our keeping standards for these guys and provided them with a little bit more height. I mean, you look at their fingers and they're like long, lanky fingers. It does not scream a fossorial animal. It does scream, hey, I can climb. Now we can move from the frogs over to some of, actually probably my favorite genus of lizards, the Tachydromus. These are the smaragdinus. So these are the emerald or green grass lizard. Since the last episode, I went through here and trimmed up their tank a little bit. As you can see, I just shoved the tree trimmings into the tank, and of course, they never take, but it does add a bunch more climbing surface for them, so I leave them in there even with all the leaves falling off. The tree itself is still healthy. This is a ficus. It's not a benjamina like you typically see. It's something else. I'll try and include it on screen right now. These guys are basically better than television. They're always active. They're always out. They're doing something. If you give them food, they will happily eat. And in fact, it is feeding day, so maybe I'll feed these guys as I go along. Let's get some crickets. We can watch the real reason why these guys are my favorite. They're just always so active. And they also breed like rabbits, so there is that. That's not why I love them. If anything, I kind of don't love them because they breed like rabbits. These guys are getting pretty old. Now, you might remember that we did actually have a trio, a 1.2 in here, which means 1 male, 2 females. But unfortunately, I don't know what happened, but one of the females passed away probably in January, something like that. It's been many, many months, but figured I'd let you all know just in case somebody was curious. One of the reasons why I love the smaragdinus is because they're not just all green or like a lot of the other long-tailed grass lizards or just Tachydromus in general. They're just kind of like a brown color. The males in the Tachydromus smaragdinus are sexually dichromatic, which means they're a different color than the other sex. So the females are all green. I mean, they're just so acrobatic. They're so zippy. What sucks about this species is they can't really be held, or I haven't dedicated the time to like taming them down. I don't know if you could with them, to be honest. But as I was saying, the males are a different color. So he's kind of brown. You guys could see him before. I don't know where he went now. I think he's eating a cricket behind the grass there. These guys are incredible. I love them so much. I'm very happy that they're doing well. And I'm happy that I kind of stuck with my gut on this one and ended up just going for it when I had the thought, hey, you know what? I used to look after these years and years ago when I worked at a pet store, and I loved them back then. What if I got them again now? That's where my problem with Tachydromus started. Then it ended up moving over to these guys here, which are the Tachydromus dorsalis. These are a much larger species. As you can tell, their body length is about twice what the smaragdinus are. And these guys are much more bold, much more apt to just kind of come hang out. Like you can see, I can actually basically pet this guy. He comes out all the time. They are just, in general, a much better lizard for like handling and such. Hey. And in here we have a trio. Truthfully, I cannot tell them apart, and that's part of the problem with the not sexually dichromatic. I can tell that's the male, but the 2 females look basically identical. Oh, look at that. You guys get to see them communicating with their waves. That's so cool. I think that's the first time I really caught it on camera. Oh, I love that. Wow, okay. That was so cool. Like I was mentioning before I got hella distracted, these guys are larger, more sociable, and can still live well in groups. As you can tell, this 1.2 is working great, and I've had friends keep them in even larger groups than this. They just need a larger enclosure, obviously. We got them more crickets. They're happy. Now we could talk about them a little bit more. And I love them because they are canopy dwellers in the wild. Someday I would love to go to Japan to see these guys. I put a ficus in their tank, and as you can see, it creates a dense canopy at the very top of the tank. And as much as it kind of deletes the visibility in the tank because it blocks out so much light, they spend a lot of their time just chilling up here, relaxing in the canopy. So I'm very happy that I can kind of mimic that in my own way. That's the two over here. We do have a few more throughout the room, but I'll talk about them as we get there. And then over here, we have our pair of Chahoua. They're both chilling at the back. Oh, there goes the one. You saw him leave. And the other one is still chilling back there. So this is Turnstone and Vendetta in here. I love Chahuas. I'll show you guys some of the babies and pull them out later, but I'm kind of sad that I never kept a Chahoua before meeting Bree, because wow, are they such cool animals to look after, take care of, produce babies of. They're really a great beginner gecko. At least the Pine Isles aren't really priced to be like the perfect beginner reptile, because they are a little bit on the more expensive side, but you can get like mainland Chahuas for a couple $100. You just got to be careful of their facial structure and a couple other aspects with them, because there are some issues there. Yeah, in general, they're just a very easy species to keep. They're a lot of fun. They do need more protein and calcium than a crested gecko. We feed these guys crickets on a weekly basis, and they mow them down. I would pick these 100% of the time over cresties if I had the choice. Like if there was a $2,000 crestie and a $2,000 Chahoua, or you know, $100 crestie and a $100 Chahoua, I would buy the Chahoua every time. Super happy that we keep them, and we're actually having pretty good success with them this year, or at least with this pair up here. This is Kestrel and Lark, and they are doing very, very well, producing babies like crazy, which is kind of interesting for Chahoua. Normally you might get like a clutch to 3 clutches or so a year. 3 clutches would be quite a lot. We're at 3 this year from them. Very, very happy that they're doing well. I cannot wait till when we move and we can give them even larger enclosures. We're hoping to go at least 2x2x2, and hopefully even like 2x2x3 maybe. That would be even better. We will see what we can come up with when eventually we end up moving. Now moving across the top rack here, this is another super, super exciting project that Bree has started and I am now heavily invested in. These are fish scale geckos. I just made a video on my channel about 2 weeks ago making this enclosure for fish scale geckos, and we'll give you an update on that right away here. I did show you in that video, we have little babies, and they are the most precious thing in the entire world. And we don't actually know what species these are, to be honest. We're told Typica, but that is not what they're called. Unfortunately, there's basically no research that goes into these guys because they're impossible to capture without them sloughing all of their skin. But hopefully we'll get down to the bottom of it and figure out what species these are. Until that time, these are fish scale geckos. Yay, common names. This is a friendly reminder to take a sip of whatever beverage you know you're choosing to drink while watching the reptile room tour. Excuse that brief interruption. We are back with another Chahoua in here. He is always hiding. This is going to be one of the males paired with one of the females we produce. This is from Dennis at Gecko Gallery. I can't really talk too much about him because he's not out. And now we can move over to our lesbian army, the Mourning geckos. These guys are very fun. Their enclosure is very tired. These guys are going to be, or I guess girls, are going to be kind of one of the upcoming projects for this summer. Their enclosure is just one of the very first enclosures that Bree and I built when we moved in like 5 years ago. And it's looking tired. As you can tell, there are eggs absolutely everywhere. And these girls just need a bit more space, so that's what we're going to give them. We have like 2 or 3 different kinds of mourning geckos in here. There's normals, there's yellow bellies, and there's Hawaiians. I don't know if that's frowned upon or not, but I guess you guys will let me know in the comments down below. As you can tell, the pearly whites back there, they are going absolutely ham. You can see some gecko silhouettes on the pothos there. I'm just excited to get them in a new enclosure, as soon as we can. Over here on our kind of quarantine table, we have Gumby and Globby. These guys are the giant Mexican tree frogs, otherwise known as Geriatric Dacne color. They are beautiful frogs. Normally they are bright green, but for whatever reason, these guys just stay mostly gray, and then at nighttime they do kind of perk up a little bit and turn more green. If anybody has any suggestions for that, please let me know in the comments down below. But these two have been an absolute headache over the past 2 years now, something like that. Basically what happened with these guys was one of them suddenly passed away. We had 3, and that was very confusing. So we had a fecal done. They tested positive for hookworm and strongyloides. We treated for both. The hookworm has disappeared. They haven't tested positive since that time for hookworms. They do continually test positive for strongyloides. We are trying ivermectin as treatment. It seems to be working. They're definitely looking healthier. They're much more full, as you can tell here. Blobby is looking extra blobby at the moment. Gumby's just chilling down there. We're kind of at a crossroads with these two. Like, they're living an okay life, but strongyloides is one of those things that can be passed from animal to animal. And that's why they're sitting on this quarantine table, not in a bioactive enclosure. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do with them. I hope we can just treat them and they test negative and they're able to go into an enclosure and we can enjoy them for the rest of their lives. But unfortunately, we're going to have to talk to our vet and just see what he recommends because I trust him. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about them. That was kind of a long, rambly bit about the tree frogs, but they are, oh, hi. They are such cute little dudes. Color-wise, they're still gray, which is unfortunate. If you guys have any recommendations for remedies for that, I've heard that putting in plants into the enclosure can actually help with them coloring up and turning green. But these guys turn green most nights. It's just during the day that they're kind of gray like this. That's these goobers. In here, we have another Scaphiophryne marmorata that Bree ended up getting. And it has basically come into our room at the worst time because it's summer. So it is basically a pet terrarium with no frog inside. The frog is just down in the root ball of the pothos at the back there. This dweeb is known as Chip. And if this is kind of one of your first reptile room tours or the first one in a while, I do have some bad news. Unfortunately, Sheldon passed away over a year ago now, which is kind of crazy to say, to be honest, and just kind of hitting me right now. And Bree surprised me with a baby Herman's tortoise for Christmas. I have a video setting up this terrarium on my channel. If you guys want to go check it out, feel free. But in that video, there was no live plants, and now there's live plants, but most of them have been consumed by him because I ended up planting it about a month ago. And I was like, oh, I'm going to film a reptile room tour. We'll make it look all spiffy and nice. And then you guys will get to see how he eats everything. It turns out that, yes, he does, in fact, love sedum. That was a beautiful sedum plant. I'll insert a photo here of the enclosure right after we planted it. You can see the sedum looks great. There's a coleus in the back. Blue fescue has done terribly. I think it just dries out too fast, despite me watering it like every day. And then the geranium here is doing great. I'm very happy with how it's growing. He doesn't seem to eat it, which is really nice. It's just a nice little pop of green. Periodically when it flowers, he gets some flowers, and then I feed the rest of the flowers to the Uromastyx that we'll see in a couple minutes. But this is an unknown locality of Herman's tortoise. We think he's an eastern. Actually, you know what? I'll grab the little chipperdoo. That's how big he is. He's about 1.5 years old now. He was 1 year when we got him, and that was December, and it's been, 7 months. So I guess that would put him at just over 1.5 years. There you go. There's his belly. I don't want to keep him like that for too long. There you go. Enjoy basking. This enclosure has held up much better than I anticipated. I'm very happy to report that because if you saw the tortoise setup video, it was a little controversial, I'm not going to lie. You can go check it out, look through the channel if you want. Everything's doing well. It's holding up really well, and I'm very happy with it for now. Obviously, he's going to need a larger enclosure when the time comes. At the moment, it is meeting his needs, and I'm going to have to go to the garden center again and grab some more plants for him because, I mean, come on. It's just so cute. Him roaming around, eating all the food in his enclosure, and then, hopping in his water dish to soak it all off is just the best feeling. Right next to Chip here, we have the brand new Pro Terrarium by Exoterra. This is their new line of terrariums that has come out. I made a video on this tank up here talking all about it. If you want to go check it out, it's the last one on the channel. I'll also leave it at the end of this video. This is the new Lucasium Damium terrarium. These guys are looking stellar, and that is entirely due to Bree's expert craftsmanship when it comes to building desert-style terrariums. You guys will see the rack that has been kind of redone since you guys last saw it in a few minutes here, but this tank is looking stellar. Bree did make a video on how she built it on her Instagram, Bree's Exotics. I'll leave it down below as well. You guys can go check it out. So that is Lucasium Damium, otherwise known as the Beaded gecko. These guys are just some of the coolest Australian geckos out there. We have not been successful yet reproducing these guys. Not that we really need to, I just enjoy them as pets, but it would be really cool to be able to allow the opportunity for some of you to get your hands on them, because they are just the cutest. Like, for being such small geckos, they're so inquisitive. They're not scared of people at all. Half the time when we come in here and are walking around, like right now when I'm doing a reptile room tour, they're all like at the front glass here, hanging out, just begging for food like little puppies. It is so cute. There are currently 5 of them living in this 18-18-18. Good job, Bree. Let her know in the comments down below what you guys think of this, because I think she knocked it out of the park. It looks so good. Go check out the video on her Instagram. She did a great job, and it's kind of her first piece of like content that she's really made, like a build video or anything like that for. Staying on the lower floor here, this is the other Fuego froglet that is now basically a frog. He's not out, so I'm not going to go through there and pull him out or anything like that. Again, very similar to the other one that I showed you at the very beginning of this video. Now we can move on to the middle rack, and I can talk about fish scales again. This whole shelf is pretty much now dedicated to fish scale geckos, or gecko lepus, if you guys are curious on what their scientific name is. And I am definitely not going to be able to get any shots of these guys. This is the same species that we now have 4 babies from. Again, the kind of gecko lepus SP. We have no idea what it is. So next to the, what we're calling gecko lepus SP, we have more gecko lepus SP. These are apparently probably maculata, according to Bree. She's done a deep dive on researching these guys. They are very cool geckos. I remember having one of these in the pet store that I worked at when I was like 14, and we had no idea really what it was or anything. And it's kind of crazy how life comes around like that. Like 2 lizards that I worked with when I was like 14 are now back in the reptile room in pretty much permanent positions, because I don't think either of us will get rid of these guys anytime soon. And yeah, they are in a pretty basic setup, just an 8x8x12. But they are babies currently, and they will be getting upgraded to a 12x12x18. In fact, that one right there. There's 2 in here, both pretty much the exact same size. This group was actually imported from Europe last year. Bree is pretty confident that in here we have maculata, so Gecko lepus maculata. Look at that, they're hiding. Go figure. I'm not even going to spend any more time. They look very different. They look pretty much the same as that, but just, you know, twice the size. And then in here we have Doey, who has kind of gained some traction on Bree's social media accounts. And Doey's actually right next to them. I am like trying to snipe this shot. There we go. Hi, Doey. She is a thick goddess with obviously 2 eggs right there. Yeah, I wish I could show you a better shot of her. I know this is like super abstract and artsy filmmaking, but that's as good as we can do. I'll come in tonight and get some B-roll of all these guys when they're outside, but these guys are so fast. Fish scales in general are just lightning fast. The fastest gecko I've ever seen. I thought Lygodactylus williamsi were the fastest, but no, these guys put them to shame, because these guys are also like 3 or 4 times the size as a williamsi, and you can't touch them because otherwise their scales fall off. Now this tank here is a bit of a overgrown disaster. It is for my Oophaga pumilio Bastimentos. I have like a blue female. It kind of exploded on Instagram when I posted a photo of her, and I'm hoping to track down a blue male. I have contacted the guy that purchased this like group from the same breeder that I purchased this female from. He is not willing to sell any just yet because he has a breeding pair despite having like 9 frogs. I'm hoping that I can get some babies from him very soon here. I don't actually see her right now. Normally she's just kind of sitting right out on these leaves right here, but that does not appear to be the case at the moment. Up to the top shelf where it is Caspian and then a plethora of Tachydromus, but we'll still show you guys anyway. This is Caspian Breeze captive bred baby red-tailed green rat snake, otherwise known as Goniosoma oxycephalum. He's not out right now. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about him. Hopefully when he's done eating, he'll actually come out and like bask, and then I can get some cool shots. He does need an upgrade. He'll be going into an 18-18-24. He's grown so much so fast that, yeah, it kind of surprised Bree and I because we expected them to grow a little slower, but no, not the case. When you have a good eating rat snake, they grow like weeds. Next to Caspian here, we have, I'm not going to like go in depth on all of them because you've already seen all these species, but up top here, we have 3 Tachydromus smaragdinus, soon to be 2. Cody Joe, one of my good buddies, is taking all of the babies. So this male will be going, and then the 3 and the 8x12 at the end there. But there is another pair in here, and they will likely be moving in with the other pair of Tachydromus smaragdinus we have that I've already showed you over there. This will be the baby enclosure for all of the dorsalis because, as you guys can see, we do have a couple dorsalis eggs, and they need somewhere to be raised. So that's where they're going. In here we have our geriatric pair. These 2 enclosures are my OG pair of Tachydromus dorsalis. This is Turok in here. He's a bit more of a spaz, to be honest. He never really used to be all that tame. Apparently he was with his former owner. With me, he's never been like super dog tame. Such cool lizards, man. Look at how regal. Thought about it a little bit more, and they're like 11 at least. Rico, if you're watching this video, can you comment if you got them as babies or not? I got these guys from a subscriber in the US, and they were about 9 years old when I got them, and I've had them for at least 2 or 3 years, so they're like 11 or 12 plus, which is absolutely crazy. And over here we have Midori. She is an absolute sweetheart. I love the name Midori. I will probably recycle it someday in the future, but for now she is the rightful owner of that name. If you guys have watched several reptile room tours, you'll have seen that Midori has had some like back leg trouble. A little bit of trouble using her back legs. Nothing too bad. Like she still gets around, she still hunts, she's still doing very well overall. But I mean, look, you can see, like that's how chill dorsalis are when you actually work with them and hold them on a semi-regular basis. Look at her. She's just so cute, man. That is gonna be a real rough one. I'm sure their days are numbered. I know that's kind of messed up to say, but I'm sure their days are kind of numbered. These guys, when you look up any care about them, you're not going to find much. I will be working on a care video. I know I say that every time, but it will be happening. When you look up the care for them, their lifespan typically is listed as like 10 years. They're past that, so they're doing very well, or just, you know, we have very incomplete data as to how long they actually live. That is definitely possible. And as I mentioned over here, we have a trio of smaragdinus. Nothing to spend too much time on. They will be going to my good friend Cody Joe, and he's going to have them for sale. So I don't know if you're in Canada or certainly Alberta, hit him up. He will have these guys available for sale. The time has come that we can now move to the wood rack that has been completely 100% redone, minus the tanks themselves, but all the interiors have been moved and switched around, and you can tell that it's in a different order now as well. We got Indy at the bottom. We have a couple special guests coming. Not guests, they're pets. What am I talking about? But they'll be coming this week. Let me know what you think it possibly could be. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then up here, we have my boy. Hey, buddy. How are you? This is Hugo, my, I don't even know, 20-year-old male Uromastyx. He is, as you can tell, a sweetheart. And he's actually, well, at this time, long-term captive, but he was wild caught. And about a year ago, I had a huge fear with him that he was not going to make it. He had some impacted poop, something. I don't even really know. He was going downhill. We treated him at the vet several times, gave him soaks daily, and he finally is back. I still think that there is something a little bit in there, but he's eating fine. He's looking 100% better, and I'm very happy that he's doing well. That makes me incredibly happy to announce that. Gertie is doing great as well. Obviously, they're now kind of in their hot cabin over there. But this is the remodel of the Uromastyx tank. I have employed some methods by people like Arids Only with basically just sand and some rocks as a substrate. It makes cleaning so much easier. You can really tell when they poop and you can clean it up right away. And the rest of it is pretty similar. They still have a lay bin despite no female. I don't know, I figured it's just kind of a nice hide for them if they choose to go in there. And it's a 4x2x2 enclosure. Really hot basking spot of about 140. Then they also have like a deep heat projector that lands right on this rock, so they cook on here all the time as well. Unbeknownst to me, but this rock has become kind of a, I don't know, a visiting platform. A lot of times we're in the room later in the afternoon, they're just chilling up here, waiting at the glass, hoping for some food. But now that they got food, they're both hiding and cooking away. I love that for them. I love that they're doing well, and I cannot wait for the 2 new additions in here. Currently, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, we do actually have another Uromastyx in here that we rescued from a subscriber of mine that reached out. Unfortunately, he is a male, so he's not gonna fit into our plans for the future. I basically just want like 2 pairs of Uromastyx. I don't even know if you guys can really see him back there. Kind of back there. He will also be going to Cody as, I assume, for sale on their shop. So if you guys are interested, then hit him up and I'm sure he'll be happy to indulge your inquiries. Yeah, I didn't want to lie and say that this is just totally empty because obviously there's a salad bowl in there. So you guys knew that there was something in there, but hint, hint, what else could be going in here? I don't know. And there is actually one other special guest that I'll play some footage of on the screen right now that we're babysitting. It's in quarantine, so I'm not going to pull it out. It is a gorgeous Aru Jayapura green tree python that we picked up and are shipping to Cody at the beginning of this week. And next time I'm out in Calgary for Christmas, I'm hoping to make it to Cody's and we can actually film like a full video of Cody's place because holy crap, it is looking insane since the last time we saw it. Part of our complete redo was actually moving Indy to the bottom because he was getting pretty hot sandwiched between 2 very hot desert terrariums. So I moved him to the bottom so he stays a little bit cooler. Bree smashed it out of the park with this one. We did put some reinforcing wood in here, which clearly is not doing as good of a job as I thought it was going to, but hopefully, I don't know. I'm thinking of getting the glass redone for this and making it a little bit smaller so we don't have issues with that, but it is manageable to open and close it. As I mentioned already, Bree set up this enclosure. It's all fake plants, which kind of sucks. For a northern blue-tongued skink, I think it is more than adequate. He's got UVB, he's got nice heat. This is like a giant real stone. Bree put like some drainage pipe under it so he can actually go under there and hide. In my opinion, this tank looks very, very good. And Bree did an incredible job setting it up. Indy is doing very well, and he was just out, but unfortunately, he is no longer out and about. Northern blue-tongued skink. Really, really love them. Really happy Bree is taking such great care of him. I've gone all the way around the perimeter of the room, and now we have to do the peninsula of the room, which is Kalea. And now that she's done eating, we can get a couple shots of her beautiful looks. She is gorgeous. I love her. She's really cool. Like I mentioned, she's pretty much Bree's favorite snake, and she's one of mine. She's not my snake, she is Bree's, but she's definitely one of my favorites in the room, besides Saguaro, of course. Now, on the edge of the peninsula, we have a little gray rack that is kind of a sad Lepidophelthusa tank, but I did just go through it. It's just this diatomaceous algae that is plaguing it right now. I'm not going to bother showing you them because A, they're hard to find, and B, that is not the final setup for them. That's just kind of something I threw together in like 10 minutes. And it's doing well. They're doing good. I'm happy with that. In here, we have a few Ranitomeya southerns that Bree is going to be moving into the tank upstairs that I'll show you guys in a few minutes. You guys can see one at the very bottom of the bin there. They're very shy frogs. Ranitomeya, if you're getting dart frogs, don't expect to see them very often. They are quite shy and very reclusive dart frogs. Bree loves them so much. We got some from our good friend Logan Vetro, who we went to Colombia with and who will be going to Costa Rica with in November. He produces these guys. Moving above the Fuagos, we have some grow up Chahoua. Hello darling. These are PI Chahouas. We do have full lineage on them. So this one right here, depending on what sex it is, we haven't sexed it just yet, but it might be available. We do ship to the US, for those of you that are wondering. As long as it's not CITES, it can go. Even if it is CITES, it can go as well. It just takes a lot longer and costs a lot more. We just hatched another Chahoua this week, and it is just the cutest little thing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this one will be available when the time comes. I mean, if you guys are interested in wanting to purchase it kind of immediately, it will be cheaper, but it might not look as nice. But when it gets as big as the one that I'm about to show you, the price goes up significantly, and it's also obviously a different clutch, but this is one from the same pairing. Whoa! Beautiful, beautiful lizards. And I mean, you can see, at this age, it's typical that they're kind of flighty like this, but I mean...
I also woke them up.
Yeah, A, you woke them up, and B, we don't spend a ton of time, like, hand taming these guys. At this size, you could hand tame them so easily. Yeah, this one is available currently. It's a subadult, I guess, male, juvenile male, whatever you want to call it. It's back when it's fired up, turns orange, so... I don't know if you can hear Bree. That's kind of why I'm repeating everything she says. She's the Chahoua expert in this relationship. I just get to love them and hang out with them, and I love it. And now moving to the small door rack. This is where we keep the subadult Chahoua. That's the one that I just showed off that is for sale. This one is a holdback that will be paired with that male up there. And I'm gonna kind of go through these quick because these two are, oh, you're actually out and you're actually eating, wow. So this is Ho. Before, he used to be down here in like an acrylic tank, and now Bree has upgraded him to a lavish luxury. He is deep in shed, but he's still choosing to eat, which is nice. And it's going to be like a silhouette shot. Gojira! So that is Ho. He is growing very well. He has an attitude. For somebody that was hatched in captivity, I would have expected him to be a much nicer snake, but he is a spitfire, as you can tell. He just freaks out at every possible moment. And then in here, we have another little baby Shovelnose that is not out right now, so I'm not gonna really spend too much time here. These guys are all Sonora annulada. Down here it says Kinactus occipitalis, but that is hella outdated. And then we actually have 4 of them living in here. There's one of the hopeful females. Hunting. Bree just tossed in some crickets. They're flying around the tank trying to get some food. And as I kind of mentioned, these guys are insectivorous. In the wild, they'll eat all kinds of things. They'll eat things like scorpions, beetles. If it's an insect, they'll pretty much eat it. Wow. They really like spiders, bark scorpions, etc. This is one of the females in here. As I mentioned, there are 4 in here, 2 males, 2 females. Once again, these are the tanks that I'm talking about that Bree just knocks it out of the park with. Look how cool this tank looks. Just to kind of fit with the Arizona desert type feel, those are actual real coyote bones. They behave very cool. They bask all the time. They're not the friendliest, like most handleable snakes in the world, but they're a very manageable size. They're easy to feed. They don't eat mice or mammals at all, so honestly, kind of a perfect snake for beginners. However, the lack of availability for these guys is real. Bree had to hunt countless hours searching for these guys, and pretty much any that come up, Bree buys. Whether it's from the States or Canada, which I know there's not in Canada, but if there was, you'd buy them.
Yeah.
For the general public, especially right now, considering that they're all wild caught, probably not the best thing to buy. If you see one at an expo, unless there's many and you're actually dedicated to trying to breed these guys in captivity, I would say probably best left for somebody that is dedicated to doing that. I'm not even saying just us. We do have a good friend, Logan, who has a few of a different species, but still these guys. And he's doing really well with them. Another thing is that there is no public care information at all. It's all basically just trial and error or reading studies, what little of them exist, and trying to infer their preferred habitats / temperatures from those. It's not easy because their care information is not easily accessible. We actually have more of them. Again, these are Sonora annulada. You can see these guys are subadults, I guess. Chilling in the back there. There's 2 in here. And again, a very basic setup, but Bree is just so good with using the clay backgrounds to make cool setups for them. I just love watching it. As somebody who loves reptiles as much as I do, and I get to watch my girlfriend take her passion for reptiles and turn it into beautiful works of art like you see in front of you. Down here is more crabs, but I'm not gonna bug them or really show them off because again, this is just a very temporary setup that they will be getting upgraded eventually. I'm not too pressed right now because there's only one crab in here. The other tanks down here are just completely empty. They're just display tanks that we bring to shows. And if you are interested in like the perfect scorpion tank, let us know because these are available. Right around the corner from the Sonora annulada, we have another species of ground snake, Sonora episcopa. This one is like an anery. Very, very cool. And then this one is more of a traditional color, kind of an orange color. Rebuilt these in such a way that they're not very accessible to humans. The snakes are great. They're loving them. But in terms of, you know, filming and such, not the easiest thing. Moving over to the Fiji iguana now. He also has some friends. I don't know if they're still here. We have house geckos living in here too, and captive breeding, which is kind of fun. Mr. Totoka, the Fijian banded iguana, Brachylophus bula bula, looking very pretty. Also looking very upset about the camera being here whilst eating his salad. He's doing great. The enclosure's doing well. The hibiscus that we planted isn't doing so hot, unfortunately. I'm not really sure what to change. Maybe more fertilizer. I don't know. If anybody's like a horticulturalist or something, please let me know. It's very light and very almost yellowy green. So maybe nitrogen efficiency? I don't know. The geckos are doing great in here. He is living large. And when we end up moving into a new place, he will be getting an outdoor enclosure. And I cannot wait for that. He is residing in a 4-foot long by 30 inches deep by 4-foot tall tank with a halogen basking spot, UVB, and LEDs to grow the plants. I'm excited for him to be moved into somewhere that is a little bit more commonly visited by me and Bree, because since he's moved out here, he's definitely gotten a lot more timid. We can still hold him if need be and like show him off to people, but he certainly does not like it. When he was living in the reptile room, we're just outside, by the way, he was like the most tame iguana that I've seen in a very long time. He would always ask to just come hang out on our shoulders and stuff, and now not so much. Not so much. He's not a huge fan. He gets to live his life mostly stress-free. He gets to make his appearances on YouTube every now and then. This is truly the best species of iguana for really anybody. If you have, you know, if you live in a more northern climate, they are very easy to keep inside. They don't get huge. They're not super aggressive. And worst case, if they did bite you, sure, it would hurt, but you know, you're not going to be sent to the hospital like a green iguana or something like that. And now upstairs in our bedroom, we have moved my Savu python Ender up here. He just ate, so probably not the happiest little camper. I mean, he should be the happiest, but he's never really happy, you know? He's a bit of a spitfire. His tank is doing great. If you guys haven't seen the video, I'll leave a link in the description for you guys to go check it out. A lot of the plants are growing in pretty well. These like bat flowers are growing good. Apparently they get massive, so they'll probably end up coming out. The coffee is actually still alive, which is really nice. And yeah, a lot of new leaves coming out everywhere. So cannot complain. It's doing well, and he is now clued in that I'm here. And he's never happy to see me, unfortunately, especially after just getting a meal. Look at those eyes. They're also commonly known as a white-eyed python. He's an adult. He stretches out to like 3.5, maybe 4 feet at very most. But that is an adult male for those guys, which is kind of crazy. The females are like twice the size. Maybe not quite twice, but they're definitely bigger. And before he gets too upset with me, we'll get a couple good shots of him. That's an update. Everything's doing well. This tank is growing great. And like I said, I made a video if you guys want to check it out. Pretty cool video, I might add. And now the final tank of the reptile room tour is one that I custom made for Bree's desk. Literally sits on her desk, and she has just redone it for the Ranitomeya Southerns, and they'll be moving in here eventually. We're in no real rush to get them in here. We're just letting all the plants grow in, to just kind of mature a little bit before we put any frogs in here. But overall, it is looking great. I really like the use of moss, and then a lot of plants that grow on the bottom here, like the Biophytum zinkeri. There's a ton of different ferns in here. There's Margravia. There's even orchids in here. It's looking pretty stellar. I'm very proud of how she planted this And I think I did a pretty solid enclosure build myself, to be honest. I don't know if the frogs will be in by the next reptile room tour. In the coming months, there will be frogs moving in here, and I'm sure she'll be excited to have some frogs back on her desk again, just to add some nice ambiance and something to look at while she's droning away on the computer. Well, my friends, that has done it. The coffee has run dry. That is the reptile room tour for July 2025. I really hope you guys have enjoyed. I've had a blast filming it. I know we didn't show a ton of hognoses and stuff, but trust me, that video will be epic. And plus, if we did, we'd be here for another 40 minutes. That's just the way the cookie crumbled today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite reptile that we own is, or what reptile you dream to have in the future. And while you're down there, let me know if you want any changes to the reptile room tours, anything that you guys think that would make them better. I am down to try. I'm gonna do my best to reply to every single comment down below. Of course, leave a like if you did enjoy it. And if you guys are excited for all the trips we have in the future, for more reptile room content, for other people's tour videos, there's so much more we have planned for this channel, and I am so excited to share it with you all. If you guys are excited for all the future plans that we have, make sure you click that subscribe button, ring the bell right next to it if you want to be notified for every single video that I post, and we'll catch you in the next one. Later!